Wouldn't you like to know how to get a staff member up and going and being productive to the organization in the shortest period of time possible? Would that be of value to you? I would hope so. And working with countless number of practice owners over the years, they bring on people and it takes them a long time to get them up to speed and they don't know exactly what they should be doing. We just kind of get used to the fact that it takes a long time to move things along to get to where we want to go. So what I'd like to do is just dive in and go over some things that I look for on how to train a staff member to become more productive. We have the policy and procedure manual versus we have the thing that we actually do when we're like super busy and short-staffed. So sometimes the policies that you may have written are not what's actually being done. And if enough of that is happening in your organization, why write the policy, you say to yourself. And so you become the walking and talking policy and procedure manual for your organization. It's like, hey Sean, how do we handle blah, blah, blah? Well, this is what you do. Hey Sean, what do we do with this? Well, you could do this. Well, I thought we did something different. Yeah, I know, but let's just do this instead. Or you told 3 people, but you didn't tell 2 people. And so the other 2 people are still messing it up. You know, we've all done it. So we go, well, we should probably write it down. We should probably have a policy and procedure manual. However, you want to set it up correctly. So we have what we call a process orientation. So many people have a process orientation, an SOP. I have nothing wrong with SOPs. I think they're really great, but sometimes you'll actually focus on all these different steps to do something, but forget that it's the thing that gets done is what's valuable. So always have your eye on the thing that you want to get done, more so than the process of how to pull it off. Sometimes we're so busy doing, we don't get things done. So being process oriented is a person who's focusing on step by step by step. A product orientation is a person who's looking at the accomplishment, the end part of something. A scheduled patient versus scheduling a patient is a process. A scheduled patient is a product. So the product is the thing that one produces on the job that really has value to the organization. Doing has no value. Dones have value. So if I'm busy making phone calls to try to get patients reactivated or whatever it might be, but I'm getting no patients reactivated and I'm following a particular process and I'm not getting patients reactivated, we might want to rethink the process because the end result is not occurring. So process orientation is what for many they focus on versus a product orientation. So product orientation is I need 250 scheduled for the following week by Friday. Let's say that you're not far away from that in a general average week. Now you have something that you've laid out to your receptionist of what you need to have done, however she's got to do it. You really don't care. You're not telling her call patients who don't have appointments. You're not going through any of that kind of stuff. You're not telling them the how. You're just telling them to get. Now once a person has been trained to do these basic things, you no longer worry about retraining somebody. For many, we lose our focus. We're too focused on the process and not on the product. So you have somebody that you've trained and they're not actually getting the job done. So it's pretty fair to think, well, maybe I need to train them a little more. So you step back and you train them a little bit more. You show them how to do certain things step by step by step, and they still can't get the result. Or they can get the result, but not in a quantity that's acceptable to you. So you step back in, you think you need to train. And you know what? That's a mistake. So once a person is trained and are able to do the job, then you have to actually expect, demand, ask for a quantity of that end result. I know all the steps involved. It's important to get people to keep an appointment. Then you get a target. Like I need 93% of patients keeping an appointment. Do what you got to do. That's the product. So you always want to keep your eye on the mountain. You always want to keep your eye on the end result, the thing that you're trying to accomplish. And you want to be product oriented. Very, very important. So doing the same things is not the same as getting things done. So you have to separate productive busyness versus getting things done. So that you only train. The only reason that you train is for the person to get out valuable production, regardless of what it is. If you're training someone to do billing, then they should be able to do billing. If you're training people to do authorizations, they should be able to get authorizations and timely and correct and error-free and all that fun stuff. So you only want to train to get things that are the end product. So it's important to recognize not everything that one does has the exact same amount of value. So you want to train staff to improve overall productivity, and how you go about doing it is you want to identify within every position what is the key product that they produce for that particular position. If you don't know, you have to ask yourself, if this position, let's say it's a receptionist, if I have a receptionist, how do I know what they're doing that has the most value to the organization? How do I know? Well, here's a key question to ask yourself if you don't know what their end product is for their position. It's what does this staff member produce on the job of which this company writes them a paycheck? And if you don't know, then you can even follow up mentally with this other question. What is the thing if the receptionist isn't doing, they will be fired? Probably going to be getting patients scheduled and arriving their appointment is scheduled. It's probably going to be getting the money that's due at the front desk. It's probably not going to be the way they answer the phone, the way they go over the important forms for the patient to sign, how they record any kind of note that comes through from a patient's call who cancels or whatever into the system. It's going to be, can they get people to show up and can they get the money? Those two things are probably more important than anything else that they do. And if you as an owner don't know that, or don't think with that, or don't operate with that, you can have the receptionist, as this example, being very, very busy process-wise, but not getting as much done. So we want to make sure that we know what do they produce on the job, which the company will write them a paycheck. And it's probably all patients scheduled and arrived at the appointment is scheduled would be a product. And the next product would be the front desk collects all the money that's due at the front desk. Okay, so let's put this all together so that it somewhat makes sense. Let's say you're creating a policy and procedure manual and you don't even know which way is up. Like, how do I start? Now, I'm not talking about general policy and procedures like you have to wear shoes to work or certain attire or these are our PTO days or whatever it is. I'm talking about the manual on how to be a receptionist, the manual for insurance verification, the manual for external marketing. So that's what I'm talking about. So here's how we put it together. Here's my advice to you. One would be, first of all, take out a blank sheet of paper. At the very top, I want you to put the title of the position, just say receptionist. Then what you want to write down is the end result that they produce on the job, like what is the product they produce. So at the very bottom, you would write product, all patients scheduled and arrive to their appointment as scheduled. In between the top and the bottom, you would put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the number of key important things that they must know how to do to get all patients scheduled and arriving to their appointment as scheduled. On one sheet of paper, we would have receptionist at the top, product at the bottom. Step 1, I have to know how to schedule. I have to know what to say if a patient tries to cancel. I have to know about the cancellation and no-show policy, and I need to know how to record the statistics. There might only be 4 things. It's not 40 things, it's only 4 things. It's not the entirety of the job, but it will be the thing that they do the most, is scheduling patients and getting them to arrive their appointment as scheduled. So it's very simple. If you want to train me as your receptionist, you go, Sean, I want to make sure that you understand what a product is. It's the thing that you complete on the job of which the company writes you a check. It's the thing that you do that has the most value. So I'm going to tell you what it is. Are you ready? The product is to get all patients scheduled and arriving to their appointment as scheduled. And then the person will go, okay. Good. And then you say, what did I say? You said I need to get everybody scheduled. Let me give it to you again. The product is to get all patients scheduled and arriving to their appointment as scheduled. And then you say it again, exactly the same way. What are you doing in that process? You're getting that particular receptionist in this example to really understand that of all the things they're going to learn, that's one of the most important things, is to get all patients scheduled and arriving to their appointment as scheduled. She goes, oh, to get all patients scheduled and arriving at their appointment is scheduled. Fantastic. That's exactly what I'm talking about here. That's exactly what we want to accomplish. Now, what do you think you might need to know in order to do that? If you really name the product well, the staff member, maybe with very little experience or none, say in the receptionist position, could probably answer that question. And you say, what do you think you have to know how to do? Well, I got to know how to schedule. Yeah. Write that down on a piece of paper. So they write down how to schedule. Good. What else would you need to know how to do? I mean, I don't know. What do I do if the patient says they can't come in? Oh, you need to know what to say if a patient tries to cancel, such as we're no longer accepting cancellations today, or whatever it might be. So I write down what to say. And then what else would you need to know how to do? Well, is there any policy that you have? You mean like a cancellation no-show policy? Yeah, we do have that. I'll make sure that you get your hands on that. And then I want to tell you the last thing is that you're going to need to know how to record these statistics day over day, week over week, so we can see how we're doing at this particular valuable product that you get for the company. And they go, oh, okay. So now, you have this person, first day at work. They know what they're supposed to produce on the job. They know the key things that they need to know. But it's not the entirety of the job by any stretch of the imagination. But it is the thing that she must do perfectly, must do super, super well. She could be flubby at putting a chart together, but if she's not good at getting patients scheduled and arriving at an appointment as scheduled, she's gone. or should be. So the next major product would be collecting all the money that's due at the front desk. So then you go, what are the sub-product step actions that need to take place in order to get all money that's due at the front desk paid? So one would probably be how to find out how much a patient owes, how to ask for the money, what to say if the patient doesn't want to pay, how do I record that transaction or run the card or whatever it would be. And then maybe the fifth thing is how do I record this statistically so I can track my performance day to day, week to week, and over time. If you take out a sheet of paper and you put receptionist, all patients scheduled right when the appointment is scheduled, and then these steps, the major steps, that's all they need to know how to do to get that done. Then you have another sheet of paper, receptionist, all money due across the front desk paid as the product, and then what are the steps of action that must take place in order to make that happen. And then you go, okay, well, there's a bunch of things they also need to do. It's like how to fax, what forms they're supposed to hand out, where those forms are, you got it. But that would be your third page of your job description or whatever you're writing up. That would be the third page. The first couple of pages of your policy and procedure manual for that position would be these cover sheets. And so if we looked at it from that particular perspective, we would have like, first thing is how to schedule. If that's on the first document. When you flip the page, that next page would be how to schedule. The next page after that would be what to say if a patient tries to cancel their appointment. Next thing is like, here's a copy of our cancellation and no-show policy. Next thing is, here's how we record the statistic. Day over day, week over week, and over time. So then nice little 4 to 10 pages of documents covers everything about how to schedule, what to say when a patient tries to cancel no-show policy, how to record the statistic. And then the next page, flip over, then there's another page. Maybe go with a different color on those pages. You could go all out and use different colors on those key top pages that I'm mentioning. Set those things up. Then when you have time, you can go back and start filling in the policies, the procedures of how to do those things that lead up to the product. Now, if you think about it, in this receptionist position, when we have these two products and these policies that must be known in order to get those products, and you put those two together and what represents those things, you're going to find that's 80 to 90% of that person's job. And you can train them up to be very valuable on those two things pretty quickly. And then everything else would be miscellaneous. It's important that it needs to be understood to do one's job, but it isn't the thing that has the most value. So we want to always be product oriented, and the product orientation occurs on day one when you hire someone. So regardless of the position, if you haven't figured out what that staff member produces on the job, on which the company writes them a paycheck, and you haven't figured out how to actually have a statistic that measures that performance, you need to contact me. I can walk you through this. It really isn't too difficult, but there's a lot to do with accountability, and that is, how can I get the product in quantity and quality that you're expecting and can measure it day over day, week over week, and over time. So I hope what you found here is interesting, something that you can use. Only train people to get something done. Don't go any deeper than that. If I'm a receptionist and you're training me on how to collect the copay and deductible, and I can't collect the copay and deductible, you should simply retrain me again on how to collect the copay and deductible, and have me collect the copay and deductible. And if I can't do that, then I'm gone. Don't let me hang on for 6 months. Don't overtrain me. You overwhelm people. People train too deeply. Go on a gradient, right? I bet you if you ask every one of your staff members, they'll probably tell you when they went home on day one, they had a headache because they're drinking from a fire hose. Everything is the first time they've ever heard it. And you're going, and you do this and do that. But with United Healthcare, you do this. And then with work comp, we do that. And then you got to know how to do this. But when this happens, forget it. No reasonable person is going to be able to remember that. But you go, here's what I want you to make sure you understand. Sean, your product as a receptionist is to get all patients scheduled right when an appointment is scheduled. This is very important. What did I say? And then I say it. And you go, excellent. Now, it's very, very good that you can do that. It's very, very important that you can do that. We measure the effectiveness of your ability to do this with the statistic of percentage of arrivals. Another thing is we need you to collect all the money that's due at the front desk. We measure that with the dollar amount collected and the percentage of the over-the-counter collections that's actually paid. So if we were supposed to collect $300 for the week and we collected $300 for the week, that would be 100%. So we're going to expect all of the money collected at the front desk. Those things are very important, so I'm going to train you on those first before I train you on anything else. I hope this is helpful to you. If you have any questions or want to set up a consultation call, click on the link up around who knows where, maybe down below, wherever you happen to find this, and let's talk. Maybe I can help you. Have a great one.